Hey, it's been 3 months since my first Brendan Fraser movie review, so I'd say that's plenty of time for another one. And considering Halloween is approaching, and a new reboot of the Mummy franchise is in the works, I'd say that's the perfect time to talk about The Mummy, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor. As I mentioned in my Bedazzled review, Brendan Fraser's films are guilty pleasures of mine, and the Mummy movies are essential to that. Yeah, I know they're terrible, but I enjoy how stupid they are. To an extent. The first movie had a lot of pretty cool action sequences, memorable characters, more or less, and it was self-aware. Sure, it didn't have anything to do with the original starring Boris Karloff, but it wasn't trying to be. It was just a stupid, mindless action flick. And by golly do I love it. The second movie took the terrible aspects of the first film and decided to include even more of them, including the racial stereotypes, annoying characters, and who could forget that amazing CGI? Even though both films weren't terribly well received, financially they were both huge hits. So obviously a third installment was demanded by director Stephen Sommers, and even though he had doubts, he wanted to give the fans the bigger and better threequel that the series deserved. Bigger and better by being shorter than the first two films. Sure. In 2007, it was announced that he wasn't going to be attached to directing, and the job was instead given to Rob Cohen, who's directed other Universal blockbusters such as The Fast and the Furious and Dragonheart. And even though Sommers was still producing, and considering they brought back Brendan Fraser to reprise his role as Rick O'Connell, Cohen had to make some major changes to the script, including changing the setting from Egypt to China, and changing Evie's character completely. Even though it was a financial success, it was panned by critics, but the only one to give it a fair review was Roger Ebert, giving it a 3 out of 4 stars. On Metacritic, he wrote, "Now why did I like this movie? It was just plain dumb fun is why. It is absurd and preposterous, and proud of it."
What movie did you just see?
It's The Mummy.
How was it?
Fantastic!
It was very good. I like it a lot.
I've seen the first and the second one, and this is the third one. I would say this is the best one. The best one. The best one. The best one.
Best one. Best one. Best. Who's gonna miss me while I'm gone, huh? Who's gonna miss me?
Anyway, let's begin. Yes, the classic Mummy theme. And I say classic as in I first heard it 2 seconds ago. The film starts out in ancient China where we learn about the rise to power of the Dragon Emperor, played by Jet Li. After becoming ruler of China, he learned to master the 5 Chinese elements of fire, water, earth, air, and metal. Come on, Emperor, don't you know bloodbending is all the rage now? After growing older, he decides that he wants to find the key to immortality, so he has his general search for a witch, played by Michelle Yeoh, who knows how to do just that, which leads them to finding the Oracle of Bones. Well, that's cool, but it's not as cool as Oracle of Ages.
The Emperor's answer was here, along with other magic beyond imagining.
Well, I guess books about controlling the dead and the living really make them want a bone. But after the ritual to make the Emperor immortal, he has a surprise for the witch.
为朕的皇后，可饶其不死。
从其令，亲之命为重。
听誓言。
正是。
Oh, don't cry, Jet, your mascara's running. Actually, the witch put a curse on the Emperor and his army. Oh, I guess that's what happened to Augustus Gloop. The curse ends up turning him into a statue. Well, that's not a mummy at all, and Rob Cohen completely disregarded the process of mummification like how they explained it in the first movie. Dead for centuries does not equal statue. The witch escapes only to be caught by a really awkward dissolve effect, where we see our hero of the franchise, Rick O'Connell, played by Brendan Fraser. Yeah, as you can see just by the first 30 seconds of him on screen, Rick O'Connell is now less of his usual cocky, swashbuckling self, and has instead been reduced to the likes of, well, Brendan Fraser. Rick is actually retired from adventuring and is trying to pursue a new hobby, while Evie is making a living off of turning their past 2 adventures together into novels.
Our heroes sealed their reunion with a kiss of timeless passion, their love deeper and truer than ever.
Is the Scarlett O'Keefe character really based on you?
Honestly, I can say she's a completely different person.
Just like how you are completely miscast. Obviously, Rachel Weisz is not reprising her role as Evie, and was instead replaced by Maria Bello, who's not a bad actress. She's done some great films before, but she doesn't exactly fit the role of Evie O'Connell. Rachel Weisz was one of the main reasons people liked the first two films, including me, and it's just distracting not having her reprise the role here. Oh, she didn't want to be in Mummy 3, but Fred Claus takes the cake? Way to fucking go, buddy! Rick and Evie haven't had much excitement in their life since their last adventure, and Evie is due for a third Mummy book, but stuck on ideas, so Rick tries to open her mind by opening her pants.
We could skip dinner, and I could attempt to inspire you upstairs.
Oh, that's so sweet of you, darling. But I'm going to sit at that typewriter until something exciting comes out.
You know your sex life is at a low when you get cock-blocked by a typewriter.
Malignant, Mommy. Prepare to die.
Okay, it's worse. The typewriter has seen more action than you lately. Meanwhile, their 21-year-old son Alex is on an exhibition in China to dig up a mummy's tomb. And apparently he's been suffering from Chris O'Donnell syndrome.
You really are Rick O'Connell's son.
Yeah, well, hopefully after today, you'll be known as Alex O'Connell's father.
And apparently he's lost his British accent. He sounds less like the Alex from the second movie and sounds more like a kid trying to talk like a tough guy.
How do you think this is gonna work then? You two show up, tell me what to do?
We should sit down and discuss this like a family.
No offense, Mom, but we haven't been a family in a long time.
I don't know this, Chuck. Is he, one of the Tataglia family?
They break into the tomb only to be greeted by the rejected booby traps from Crystal Skull, and eventually find the Emperor, only to be attacked by an assassin. Now, I know he's about to get his head crushed like a grape, but isn't he a little bit curious why a Japanese ninja is all the way out in China? Oh, a woman. I sense a forced romance coming on. And after failing to kill him, she just leaves? Well, that's the worst Foot Clan member I've ever seen. Back in England, Rick and Evie are asked by an official to carry a Chinese relic to Shanghai as a gift from the Chinese from the English, and they are skeptical at first, but decide to agree to it. And get this, Evie's brother Jonathan coincidentally owns a club in Shanghai where in less than 2 minutes, they show up only to unexpectedly run into Alex, who just happens to get in a fight with one of Rick's old war buddies who will pilot them on this adventure.
Coincidence? I think not!
Rick and Alex have a little bit of a tiff, and Alex storms off.
Don't look at me like that. Oh.
One of the good things about this movie, which are very far in between, is the cinematography. The first two films had a lot of yellow and brown tones to it, which is understandable being mostly in Egypt, surrounded by sand, but it seemed very dull and just a few shades away from being sepia tone. But the colors and the contrast in this film, when they're on screen, they are so vivid. Everything just pops out, and it does really look good on Blu-ray. The special effects are also improved from the last two films, and even though they're not all great, they're a hell of a lot better than and I know special effects and cinematography don't make a film good, but hey, I just wanted to give credit where credit is due. The next night, the O'Connells head to the Shanghai Museum to showcase Alex's discovery, but little do they know the ninja he encountered before is watching. Geez, could your feet hit the ground any louder? For a ninja, you're not very stealthy. This is Lynn, the romantic interest for Alex in the movie, and she speaks fluent expositionese.
My name is Lynn. My family has watched over the Emperor's tomb for centuries. The Emperor cannot be killed unless he is stabbed through the heart with this. My mother put a curse on it long ago.
But more trouble shows up when General Yang holds the O'Connells at gunpoint to have them open the Emperor's casket.
How much did, Yin and Yang pay you?
Hey, they may have held you at gunpoint, but there's no need for the racism. The Eye of Shangri-La contains elixir from the Pool of Eternal Life, which the General uses to raise the Emperor that leads to a big chase scene in the streets of Shanghai. But not after some wacky hijinks with Jonathan.
Fire! What? Again? Your ass is on fire! My ass! What the heck? My ass is on fire! Put me out! Put me out, Rick! Spike my ass! Spike my ass!
Do I make you horny? Randy?
Do I make you horny, baby? Yeah! Stop!
Of course, one of the many Chinese elements. Fire, water, earth, and horse mind control. What the fuck is that? But the Emperor escapes and is on his way to Shangri-La, which means the O'Connells have to fly out to the Himalayas.
Well, I'm not just a mad dog for the job.
I don't know, I wouldn't exactly trust a guy nicknamed Mad Dog to safely fly my family out to the mountains. I'd rather trust someone to be dead. I mean, he is Davis Seaworth.
What is that god-awful smell? Yacked.
Ah yes, all the best threequels have cow vomit jokes. After just a few seconds shown of them traveling up a mountain, they camp out for the night and have a little family bonding.
You know, I've had my fair share of experience with the opposite sex.
Really? How many experiences are we talking about?
You shouldn't ask questions you don't want to know the answer to, okay, Mom?
Oh, isn't that cute? Your son's a pig.
Hey, Mom. Sorry I blamed you guys for raising the Emperor.
Well, every mother has to hear that sometime.
My mother is under the impression there's something between us.
I hope nothing romantic.
Yeah, well, I told her there was no chance of that. We're complete opposites, you and me, right? Besides, you're not my type.
You don't like a woman who can knock you on your backside.
Expression is kick my ass. For the record, you didn't.
Gosh, it's kind of like moonlighting, isn't it?
The next morning, they find Shangri-La and prepare a trap for the Emperor, but not after a good father-son bonding of comparing dick size.
Have you ever seen a Walther P-38?
It's pretty anemic compared to the Peacekeeper.
Well, it's not about size, Dad. It's about stamina.
As soon as the trap is finished, his soldiers show up for a massive shootout. But as their situation gets worse, Lin calls for some help from... Yetis?
She speaks Yeti?
Now which one is voiced by John Ratzenberger? But the Emperor uses the Eye of Shangri-La to point the way to the Pool of Eternal Life, and Alex tries to blow him up only to be pushed out of the way and hits Rick instead, only for the dynamite explosion to cause an avalanche and the Yeti to pull them out. Rick is injured, so Lin guides them to the cave where her mom, Zhu Wen, guards the Pool of Eternal Life. I don't know how 2 Yeti and 3 people carrying an injured man are able to move faster than an all-powerful Emperor and his soldiers. I'll just assume they all took a pee break. Lin and Zhu Wen have used the water to stay immortal to guard it from the Emperor in case he ever returns, so they hide out until Rick gets his strength back. The statue is like, hey, draw me like one of your Chinese girls. Eventually the Emperor finds the temple, and how does the sorcerer who has had 1,000 years to train handle the situation? You know, for a 1,000-year-old immortal sorcerer, you really do suck.
Hello, Ed boys. Many doors, yes?
And with these new immortal powers, the Emperor can take shape of whatever he wants. So he takes the form of a 3-headed dragon. Well, still better than Aragon. The Emperor kidnaps Lin and makes his way to his tomb, where the O'Connells follow through and plan an attack. The Emperor raises his terracotta army, while Zhu Wen calls for her army of undead soldiers by sacrificing her and Lin's immortality to do battle with them.
Scary skeletons and shivers down your spine. Shrieking skulls will shock your soul, seal your doom tonight.
Which leads to an all-out battle between the 2 armies and the Emperor with Zhu Wen. Wow, this will look stupid in the trailer. She ends up getting killed as the Emperor makes his way to the Great Wall to seal the curse, and his generals follow, only to have Jonathan drop a bomb on them.
Any regrets, darling?
Only to have them come back. What the fuck? Jonathan just blew you up and you can just walk it off with a few marks on your face? Who are you, Jesse and James?
Team Rocket, blast off at the speed of light!
Surrender now or prepare to fight.
Me out that
These losers are easily taken out. Like, really easy. Like, stupid easily. Well, still more believable than Titanic. At least they could both fit on that moving gear.
Where's your honor? Fight like a man!
Yeah, you tell him, Rick. Have an actual martial artist action star actually kick something in this action film. But the dragon dagger gets broken in half, so Alex uses the end piece to stab through the Emperor's heart, and Rick uses the other side of the dagger and is sealed back, defeating him. Wow, that didn't even last 2 minutes. And wow, how accurate do you have to be to connect a dagger through someone's body? They weren't even a few inches off. They were like right on point. Jesus Christ, I could buy Lynn speaking Yeti more than I could this. So the Emperor is defeated, and both armies are swept away as our heroes share one last moment together.
Someone told me to stop living on the sidelines.
Well, he sounds like a smart guy.
He is.
So I guess Dash and Scarlet have the next adventure.
Why write about it when you can live it? There's something incredibly romantic about vanquishing the undead.
Even more romantic doing it with you.
And what did we learn throughout this adventure? That even a barrage of mummy killing can bring a family closer together. Wow, I can relate to that so much. Jesus Christ, man, the animated series had more going for the franchise. This was basically dead on arrival. This movie was actually somewhat of a pilot for a series of spin-off films starring Alex and his adventures, but considering how ass this movie was, it serves them right for not continuing it. Yeah, there were a few decent aspects of the film, like the cinematography and special effects, but that doesn't distract me from the talented actors who were completely wasted. Rick O'Connell is more of a doofus here, Maria Bello doesn't feel like the character of Evie at all, and Jet Li as the Dragon Emperor was just a terrible villain overall, which isn't his fault, it's just written terribly. You can also watch this movie without the knowledge of the previous two, and maybe you could get more out of it, but only because you wouldn't know that they're only making the franchise look bad worse. And I mean, if you're not nitpicking like me, I can understand why critics like Roger Ebert would give it a positive review for some mindless fun, but for me, there's a fine line between mindless fun and something that's just plain stupid. Let's just hope that the new reboot can learn from the mistakes of the film and do something better. Otherwise, if you want to see a good action movie from 2008, just get your money's worth out of The Dark Knight.
What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age!
Okay, show's over. Time to go back home.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching my video. If you like what you see, if you click on Brendan Fraser's face right here, you can go to my channel and see what else I've uploaded. And if you click to my left, you can see my last review of the Eddy game, whatever. And then if you click on the right, I'll send you a link to my group channel where we all do Let's Plays and we do stupid shit. So have fun with that, and yeah, happy Halloween, and have a good night, and stay away from clowns. Seriously, that shit's crazy. Just be safe is what I'm saying. Be safe.